All right, so now that you're in tune and your guitar is ready to go, we're going to talk about some more basics on the guitar. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to use a pick because it makes my guitar a lot louder and you guys won't be able to hear me speaking over it. So if I play with a pick, it's going to be hard to hear me speaking. So I'm just going to play with my fingers, and I'm just going to play with my fingernails by just brushing it down, and it'll be a lot quieter. I may even play with my thumb to make it even more quiet. But for you all, I want you to get used to using a pick. So remember, only use a pick if your strings are made out of metal. So some guitars are classical guitars. If you remember, we talked about this in class. You can tell a classical guitar because the strings are nylon, like plastic, especially these bottom three. There's also no pick guard because it's not meant to be picked. So if you have those kind of guitars, that's fine. Just use your fingers. Don't use a pick. If you have a regular standard guitar like that, you can use a pick. All right. Way you want to hold a pick is you'll notice it's like a triangle with a more pointy end. Those are more rounded. So the pointy end you want out. You want your thumb in the middle of it, and then your first finger and your middle finger around it. So you're holding it kind of like that. Okay. So you want to get out of the habit of holding it like this, because the more you play like that, you're going to cramp up your hand. So you want to play like that. You want to allow your wrists to move freely. That's why you want to play like that. Okay? So you want to hold your pick that way. Thumb right in the middle. All right? So that's your pick. So let's talk about the frets on the guitar. So your frets are these metal bars that go all across. It indicates where you are in the scale of the guitar. So what we're going to primarily work on is we're going to be playing in your first fret, second fret, third fret, and we're going to stay there for a while, okay, until we get more familiar and comfortable playing. Honestly, you can play any song within those three frets. The worship songs that we play, or that are played at church or at school during chapel or whatever, they can all fit right in there. And then we'll talk about how you want to change key without having to actually change your notes, because we can actually move this end part using what's called the capo, but we'll get to that later. We're going to focus in these first three frets, okay? So let's go ahead and dive in. The first chord I want to teach you is your E minor chord. That's probably a chord that's going to be used, one of the most commonly used chords. It's the chord I always teach first because everything else falls around that. So when we play an E minor chord, what you're going to do is you're going to play on the second fret, okay? So you're going to play not on the first fret, not on the third, but on the second fret, okay? Now, when you're in the frets, you want to be in between the two bars, in between those metal lines, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to use your middle finger and go on the second string, second fret, and then you're going to use your ring finger, third string, second fret. So it looks like that. You want to make sure you use these two fingers specifically, and I'll show you why next. But when you play this, you can strum all the way down. And there's your E minor chord. Now you want to make sure that you're pushing these down hard. So I always tell students, the first 3 weeks of guitar is misery because you're letting your fingers get calloused up. So until you get calluses, it's going to kind of hurt, okay? You have to let it happen though. You have to get calluses, otherwise you won't be able to do this, okay? So the first 3 weeks, power through it. After that, you won't even feel it anymore, okay? So right there, that is your E minor chord. So these two fingers are up. My pinky and my pointer are up. There's your E minor. Now, here's why we use these two fingers. Because to go from an E minor to an E major, there's only one difference. This finger. And it's naturally going to want to fall right there. Now that is on the fourth string, first fret. So your first finger is naturally going to want to fall there. And now that's a major chord. So what I want you to work on for this one is I want you to go from an E minor to a major back and forth. So do 4 strums each. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1. So just go back and forth. You can hear that different major to minor. So if you notice my fingers, I don't look like I'm moving much because I'm not. So what makes guitar playing easy is making your movement small. Okay, it's less complicated. So E minor, D major. So work on that, and then we'll add the next chord next time.